Hi guys, I've pulled in my car here to pop on to just say that on my way driving home, I was listening to the Minister for Health Stephen Donnellys on Newstalk, and he was talking about the great strides that they're making within the health service, and he thinks it's disingenuous to disregard the work that is being done by people working in the health service and the great job that they're doing. Firstly and foremost, people who speak out about issues within the health service like the trolley crisis and the extensive waiting lists and the fact that some of our children will have aged out without ever actually seeing the National Children's Hospital are not blaming the healthcare staff. Let's get that straight. We've never blamed the healthcare staff. The healthcare staff have always had our support. 110% had our support. So let's get that straight right now. And it is disingenuous to suggest that we are blaming the healthcare staff. We're not. And to go on a national radio and say that the trolley numbers are coming down. Well, Minister Donnelly, I invite you to come to Letterkenny University Hospital, which is my local Model 3 hospital in Donegal. I invite you to come down, not in an announced visit, to come down and see it as it is, day in, day out, trolley to trolley, chair to chair. Doctors taking patient histories and bloods in corridors. I actually called into my local hospital today, having been up there all day yesterday to see a friend of mine who had to go back today for a scan because the department that does the scan wasn't open last night when they needed it. So to come back at 9 this morning and they were going to be admitted. And I called up to see if they needed anything. And I met several people that were there when I left at 2 o'clock this morning with my own child, having waited since 11 o'clock yesterday. There's a man sitting up there and he has given me full rein to permission to talk about his story. He's sitting up there with a brain injury and he went in there at 11 o'clock yesterday. He sat in a trolley chair to 9 o'clock last night when he was told he was going to be admitted, but they had no bed for him. So he went home, slept in his own bed and came back this morning and was still sitting in that chair from 9 o'clock this morning to 3:30 today. And that is a man with a brain injury, with a brain tumour. We have patients up there who have had to come back at 9 o'clock this morning to get a scan that they mightn't even get today because there was still a backlog from people who needed scans yesterday. We have 522 type 1 diabetes patients who have access to one endocrinologist who is privately sourced for 12 hours a week. They're supposed to have a checkup every 6 months and it's actually they get a checkup every 2 years. We have patients in Donegal travelling 139 kilometres to see a neurologist. Our hospital is a Model 3 hospital. It should be a Model 4 hospital. Everybody says it. The dogs in the street, as many people would say, know that it needs to be a Model 4 hospital. We must out in a surgical hub. We have 5 ICU beds for 170 for a county that is 170,000 people. We need access to HDU beds. At Easter, we had one ambulance covering the entire of Inishowen on a bank holiday Monday. That's the size of County Louth, Minister Donnelly. So before you go on the radio and start saying that by ignoring the strides that you are making, that it is disingenuous to suggest that the staff aren't doing good work, nobody has said that. Nobody has said that this is the fault of the staff. But I put it to you this way, 2 of my children should have seen care within the National Children's Hospital. 2 of my children. Neither one of them will have ever had access to care in that hospital because they'll have aged out. How you have the audacity to talk about waiting lists coming down? Yeah, they may be coming down, but they are. Let me tell you something. I just sent back a validation form for my own child. She has been on the waiting list for 6 years to see a rheumatologist. When she turns 16 in August, she will be too old to be on that list and she will then go on the adult list. And she will have never seen a rheumatologist at the Children's Health Hospital in Dublin. She's 2 years on a waiting list for a cardiologist. I have another daughter who has to actually leave Ireland to get the treatment that she needs. Nobody is disputing that the staff do fantastic work. Nobody is disputing that. Nobody is disputing that the paramedics and the nurses and the doctors and the HCAs and the porters, right down to the catering staff, work their absolute backsides off in the health service. Nobody is suggesting that. And it's disingenuous of you to suggest otherwise, Minister Donnelly. But before you go on telling us about how the numbers on trolleys are reducing and how the waiting lists are reducing, why don't you take a trip down here to Donegal and go to Letterkenny University Hospital and see what the staff and the patients are putting up with? There was a 97-year-old man sitting there yesterday on a trolley chair for 12 hours. There was a woman yesterday from Donegal who was in another hospital down the country, and they were told, because she was there for an outpatient's appointment, that they actually couldn't take her, and she had to drive back to Donegal to see her GP to get a letter to go back to A&E. That woman had been on the road since 7 a.m. and she got home at 5 a.m. this morning, and she's in her 80s. There was a man left Letterkenny University Hospital yesterday who had been sitting on a trolley chair for 25 and a half hours, and he discharged himself without treatment. I stood as I watched another family try to discharge their loved ones so they could go across the border to Altnagalvin to try and get treatment. So when people speak out about what is happening in the health service, they're not speaking out to demonise the workers within the health service. They're speaking out in support of the workers, and they are speaking out in support of their loved ones. Their mothers, their fathers, their sons and daughters and brothers and sisters, and they have every right to speak out. And for the children languishing on waiting lists for scoliosis treatment, their family has every right to speak out about what they're going through. And for children like mine who are waiting 6+ years to see a rheumatologist, we have every right to say that no, we don't feel the effects of the waiting lists coming down. And we will continue to say those things until we actually see improvement. Nobody is disputing that there was extra investment put in this year, but what I can tell you is we on the ground, we the loved ones of these people, the full-time family carers, we are not seeing the effects of this. And you going on the radio saying that it's just ingenuous to blame the healthcare staff belittles our attempt to try and get services for our loved ones. So what I would say to you now, Minister Donnelly, is come down to Letterkenny University Hospital on an unannounced visit. Come down and see Letterkenny University Hospital and see what the staff and patients are putting up with before you start spouting off about the great achievements that are being made.